friends! I'm here with Hannah from Jetta's Geckos, and this is our first ever collaboration video where we brought someone else in to show us some of their animals, and I am absolutely having like the time of my life right now because Hannah has brought in some leachie geckos or leachianus geckos. And so Hannah, tell me a bit about leachies.
Okay, so full scientific name is Rhacodactylus leachianus. They're the largest species of geckos in the world. Depending on which island they come from, or island mix in these guys' cases. Depending on the island they come from, it'll dictate how big they get, what kind of color pattern they have, and now in the hobby you're seeing them selectively bred, like these guys have been, for either like big size and nice colors and patterns, and yeah, leachies are becoming a lot more common, and some of the color patterns breeders are getting are insane. You'll get like all black leachies or pink and orange leachies. It's wild.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I love their size. Hello my friend, I'm sorry, are you squeaking at me?
He says, what are you doing?
You want to look at the camera? Are you a camera person?
They hate looking at the camera. If I have them on my phone, they're just like, no. No.
They know where it is.
Yep.
Oh. No, these guys are gorgeous. You said these ones are mixes.
Yes. So they both are a mix of Grand Terre locales. So those are like the bigger ones, the more aggressive ones, I guess. You hear about like Yates, Pont de May, stuff like that. Don't ask me to name any more right now. And then they also have like Bayonnaise and Nuana and Nuami in them. And that's more to bring in the color and the pattern.
Oh, okay, yeah, because these guys are just gorgeous. And right now they're not even like fired up, but...
No, these are like angry, stressed colors because they were just in the car and everything. But when they're happy or under UV at home, they'll get like bright lime greens. He gets more white and snowflake patterny, and she has really nice big purples and pinks that come through on her, and she gets really nice and light green. I'll send you some pictures of when they're in happy colors. But
did you have them when they were babies?
Yeah, so I purchased both of them from Keith Benjamin over at Reptiles R Us in Ontario.
Okay.
Purchased her in 2016 when she was a little hatchling. Her birthday was the other day, November 5th.
Happy birthday.
She just turned 6. And so I just wanted a leachie because I'd been breeding Cresties, and I was like, you know what, we'll get a leachie because we've had a couple dead in eggs or not failure to thrives. We'll just waste not, want not. And also, like, I mean, I remember holding one at my first expo, and I was just like, oh, it feels, you feel it, right?
Yes,
like
absolutely. Like
it
this
feels
is
like a privilege to hold them.
That's a heck of a gecko.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd fallen in love with Keith's pair, Bonnie and Clyde, who are her parents, and I said I wanted a Bonnie and Clyde baby. So when I got her, she wasn't too much bigger than
I was going to say, because yeah, these babies that you've brought along are absolutely gorgeous and like these light colors. We'll definitely show off each one in like the pictures, but I mean just the size difference between these ones are a few months old.
Yeah, these guys are about 2 months old, I'd say.
So I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but the size that these guys get to.
Maximus hangs out at about 300 grams.
It feels like it. Ooh. Your log's falling, my friend.
He definitely has some... You miss your boyfriend, hey?
Yeah?
We'll just let you chill there.
Okay, as long as this feels
sturdy. As long as they stay on the table.
Alright guys, stay on the table. So, you have had success breeding babies this year.
Yes, it's my first year pairing them, and all the gray hairs I got were worth it because they love each other, and yes, I fully believe they love each other
because they protect each other.
He is very protective of her, especially when he knows she's about to lay a clutch, and even when we were pulling them out earlier, he was like guarding her from Mel.
Yes, yeah, he was letting me know that I wasn't allowed to touch her.
Yes, and yeah, so it was, I did a kind of overkill pairing process, I suppose. So while I was raising them, as soon as he was big enough to be in an 18 by 18 by 24, they were neighbors. So they could always see and smell each other. And then I tried pairing them when he was 2 and she was 4, and he didn't really know what was going on.
Okay.
So then I tried last year when she was 5 and he was 3, and after swapping out their cork bark every few weeks,
Okay,
and
so
then
the smell was mixing and
yeah, and then actually swapping them between enclosures.
Okay.
I because I keep them in what's essentially an 18 by 18 by 24, 2 side by side, I use an egg crate divider, and I put one on each side. So they could smell each other and hang out with each other through the barrier, but also I knew they weren't going to kill each other because I raised both of them from tiny hatchlings.
Not
I don't want them to hurt each other.
Yeah.
So after a few weeks with the divider and swaps between sides of the divider, everything, I noticed they started sleeping together on the divider. And I was like, okay, we'll take the divider out. And after some nights of chirps and stuff, I caught them like sleeping together during the day and eating together, and then a couple times copulating, and we're like, okay,
You got a pair.
we've got a pair. And then ever since then, she's consistently laid 5 clutches about 6 weeks apart each, and they've been perfect. They've both been holding weight really well for breeding, so it's cooling time now.
Yeah, they're in great shape. They're just stunning. And you said they're a little bit smaller than they were at breeding time, but they're still like fantastic shape. No sign of their spine or hips or anything. And I just love the feel of them. It's like tiny little pellets almost, but super soft at the same time.
It's like a crested gecko, but with like bubbles added.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's very cool. And all the wrinkly skin just gives them such a unique look. Yes, you.
And they definitely have personalities. I feel hesitant because I don't want to anthropomorphize, you know.
But no, every animal does have its likes and dislikes.
Oh yeah, like when she's gonna lay a clutch, I know because she sits in her perch in her cage and she won't come down, and he stays away from her.
Smart man.
And then I know she's laid her clutch because they're both sleeping on the glass the next day. Like everything's normal.
Oh. Yeah. So tell me basics of care.
Basics of care, they're pretty simple, but I do find that they do well when you provide above the bare minimum.
Okay.
So if you have an adult island mix or island locale leachianus, so something about their size, a Lego hangs out around 275 grams, maximum is closer to 300. They can live their adult life in an 18 by 18 by 24 exoterra. However, once they're fully grown, a 3-footer would probably even be a good idea because they use all the space.
Oh yeah.
They love to cruise and sleep in different cork logs and all that stuff.
Are they more active during the day, at night, every time?
At night, but they do like to bask, especially her when she's gravid. I provide an LED floodlight on top for daylight. I tried plants.
Crush.
But I still provide the light for daylight, and it gets nice and warm at the top of their cage, and she'll just sit under there, as well as a 5% Arcadia UV tube, and she'll bask all day. He's not as much of a basker, but he will come out when he feels like it. But I find it's really been beneficial for her. I mean, she's laid 5 clutches back to back. She's laid 5 clutches back to back, which for a female leachianus is a lot for a season. I was not expecting this year. And they've all been perfectly calcified, and she's maintained great body condition.
So do you have like the dish of calcium, or do you
Nope.
dust in their food, or is it just the food is already balanced?
I feed, during the breeding season when my girls are laying, I feed the Pangea breeding and growth formula.
Okay.
Just to make sure they've got that extra nutrition. And then every few weeks I'll offer her like a Pinky Mouse.
Okay.
And sometimes she'll eat it, sometimes she won't, but she's been holding her body condition really well. They're not big bug eaters. I've never gotten any of my leachies to eat bugs.
Interesting.
They love baby crested geckos. However, exclaim, For the video, I only feed Failure to Thrive or Dead and Egg. I don't do that for fun. It's just waste not, want not in my house. But they do love eating lizards, which is part of their natural diet in the wild, so it makes sense. Okay. They're at the apex of their ecological niche, I believe, so nothing much really eats them, but they eat everything below them.
So they're New Caledonia as well?
Yes.
Like a cresty. So in the wild they would even eat cresties.
They're found on the Isle of Pines where crested geckos are found.
We're getting a poop, I think.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's what happens when you work with reptiles.
Yep, especially leachies. They love to poop when they're less than impressed.
So if you ever, want the sign of what to look for, that tail raise, you know that's what's coming out.
And usually they'll squeak beforehand. Like they don't do it without warning. They don't bite without warning. They're pretty predictable geckos as long as you respect them, I find.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because one thing, and this is because I saw it in a leachie group a few days ago, was someone antagonizing their leachie in the cage. Let's just do that. And do this. Oh, he just peed because he pooped in the thing, so at least it's just, we'll clean that properly up.
Yeah, no worries. What's up, buddy?
Okay.
What? I know, this is a strange new world for you.
He's like, what's going on? So anyway, I saw in a leachie group a few days ago someone taking a video, and it's common of trying to rile up your leachianus where they're like putting their hand next to it in the cage and like increasing it when the leachie starts huffing and puffing and squeaking and getting defensive. And leachies often get a bad rap for being biters or cage aggressive, but if you're only approaching them when you know they're out in the open and willing to receive it, you won't have issues, I find. Because the only times I've ever had him lunge at me were when I was cage cleaning and he was in a cork log and he came out because he's like, hey, you woke me up, what's going on? Mm-hmm. But if both of them are hanging out on their front glass and I just touch their back and let them know I'm there, they'll walk onto my hand no problem, and once they're in your hand, he's a puppy. Oh. So, yeah, it's they just have boundaries and you gotta respect them, kind of like people.
That's fair. Yeah. So how do you find the babies are for handling?
They're a little spazzy. Their babies act more like a traditional gecko, I would say, in that their flight response is very much dominant. And they just want to run because they think everyone's going to eat them. So, however, because they're leachies, they're kind of slow, so it's kind of easier. But they also have like no sense of self-preservation, so they'll just like jump off of things.
A finger? No, you're so cute. Yeah,
here we go. I love her, and like you can see sort of like the finer details in their patterns.
Absolutely, yeah. I hope the camera picked that up.
Me too, but yeah, that's the classic leachie noise. I call that her clucking.
Clucking at us. Yeah. You're a chicken.
Oh man.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. They make a good variety of noises.
Oh yes, and the babies are very loud. I have them above my desk at work, or not at work. I work from home. Yeah. They're above my desk where I work, and I'll be sitting on a call and I'll hear like it sounds like a kazoo where they go. And I'm like, what is that? What is that noise? It's these little things. Oh. They're fascinating little geckos. And they're really easy to raise too. Like, they don't like bugs at all. Because I raise Chihuahua too. I have lots of crickets and stuff on hand. Mm-hmm. Won't touch them. Won't touch worms. They just like their Pangea, and then they act like mini adults.
Mm-hmm. He keeps looking at me like he's thinking about climbing up on me, but then he's like, no.
He's like, human tree? Maybe not. Aleko's like Maximus's tree.
Yep.
She sits on him like
all the time.
She has no sense of personal space with him, and he just like takes it.
Aw, he's a good boy.
Yeah, he's a good man.
So I want to show off. I think we're going to adjust the camera and we're going to show off the babies.
Okay.
Okay. So these are 4 babies you brought along for us to see.
Yes. These are the first 4 leachies I've ever hatched. I'm very proud of them. But yeah, so they're all a little bit different, and I feel like this is because of the mixes that the parents are. I have a lineage for both of them, but they're mutts, like 6 or 7 different locales each. So
because they were bred for their colors and patterns as opposed to being a specific locality.
Yes.
Yeah.
And well, color and they were. I'm so sorry. We can edit this out. But yeah, so their parents are a mix of 6 or 7 different locales each. I have the full lineage, but they're such a mix because they were bred for their color and size, as opposed to breeding for pure wild type locales, which is great. I plan to get a pair of Bayanese in the future because I love them, but did not work out.
Not yet.
Exactly. Okay.
So who are we going to start with? Who is your oldest?
Okay, so let's take a peek. This would be you.
Hello, you.
I lied.
You lied?
This guy is actually the second clutch to hatch.
Ah.
But I love him.
He's so cute.
Because he's got crazy pink coming in. And Maximus was very much this way as a hatchling too, where he's got this white all in the side and a big dark head.
You want to? No. Go see.
Just let me know if you need assistance.
Probably. I don't want to hurt him. He's so small and cute.
Hey, come here, little monster. Thank you. Okay, we'll keep you away from your daddy though, because I don't trust him that much.
No.
Okay, so this is this one. I don't know if that's in center, but let's see.
Should be visible.
Okay.
Hopefully the camera can pick up all these different colors and patterns on them, because every one of them is different.
Leachie. Exactly. Like, this is probably, I don't know if he's my favorite, but he's the most interesting one I have, I'd say. This one is a little psychopath.
Yeah?
Can you not? Maybe. This one's actually named Myrtle. She's going to her home tomorrow with my friend Luca.
Congratulations, Myrtle. You have a home.
But she's a little monster. Can I help you, sir?
He would like to eat your stuff,
We
please.
don't do infanticide in this family, Maximus. I'm sorry. I love them so much.
I really hope the camera picks up some of this, just because, God, I gotta swivel it around, because they are just gorgeous. Look at you two. I don't know if it can even catch how
take a
pretty.
picture of ridiculousness. Oh man. I hope like the audio is making sense, because I'm kind of
You're
just
doing.
yammering.
That's what my videos are.
That's fair.
Oh yeah, I love right now. I can really see the difference between the two of them. Like, he's much darker right now, and she's much like lighter right now.
Yep.
And but like the reds are coming out on his head there a little bit, and
He's starting to relax. You can see his pink coming through.
And she's like, I'm just gonna sniff your butt for a bit.
And her green is finally coming out, so you'll see like her pinks and stuff start to show up.
You guys calming down a little after the car ride? Sorry I made you guys come all the way. Yeah.
They're like, we haven't been to an expo in 2 years.
We don't remember what it's like.
Well, actually, he has never been to an expo. She was to one like 3 years ago.
Okay, yeah. So it was you I met then.
Yes, it was a Lego.
Chaos gremlins.
Literally.
Look at you. Look at the camera. You want to climb on it, don't you?
Yes.
I see that look.
You want to go see your girlfriend?
You gonna get up there? Can you do it? Good job! Alright, you're in charge of the camera now. This is the one that is my favorite.
Oh, interesting choice.
And I can't even open this. Hannah, save me.
They're hard to open.
Good and secure, I guess.
That's why I like them. There you go.
Good little transport containers. Hi, you. Hi. Oh my god, I love you so much, and I don't even know why. Just the yellows and the whites.
The contrast is a good one.
Mm. So interestingly, this one reminds me of my northern blue tongue skinks.
Ooh.
With the yellow and then the black sidebars. And where are you going, my little friend? I wish I had. Whoop. Not good at geckos. That's what I use Ricky for.
Leachies flop. They just.
There we are. But yeah, if you see my northern blue tongues, you see the yellow and black down the sides. And that's what it reminds me of. Just in a gecko form, which I think is just the coolest thing ever. So you're my favorite little one. And you are available. So aside from Myrtle, your other ones are all looking for their new homes now.
Yes. There might be a holdback or two in there, but I currently have 5 hatchlings without homes.
Where did I lose them? Hannah, save me.
Oh, hi. Oh man. But yes, I know shipping's kind of a little late for that already, but I'll probably be holding till spring. But yeah, they're.
So you're going to be at any local expos and...
Yes, all the Winnipeg local expos I'll be at. I know there's one tentatively for June, depending on what kind of restrictions are in place. But we'll definitely be there, and we have more eggs incubating, so...
I need to get a picture of my camera gecko. So their feet actually can touch the screen and actually set off the screen sensors.
Yeah. Well, funny story, my male Chihuahua Oscar escaped his enclosure last year because Chihuahua are escape artists.
Okay.
They're the only species I've had that's escaped as much as those idiots have. So he was gone for 11 days.
Okay.
I looked up and down everywhere. I left food out. I did what I could. I could not find him. One afternoon I'm laying in my bed and then I hear the dryer pinging, like someone was programming it, and it's a touchscreen dryer. And I come out of my room and Oscar's sitting on the dryer trying to learn how to do laundry.
What a useful gecko! Oh, just our luck though. He'd probably set it on like high heat and just make everything shrink.
You know what? Honestly, I was just so happy to have found him because I was really worried at that point.
Yeah.
Because we have 3 cats, so it was scary, but I was like, Oscar, good boy. And yeah, that's how I found my Chihuahua. Oh, this is embarrassing. Okay, so this is the weirdest one I've hatched out so far.
Okay.
She doesn't look like either of the parents in that she's got this weird orangey red base when she fires up. She's definitely holdback for sure because I want to see how this like grows out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wasn't expecting that from them because there are like orangey red leachianus available. I know like Adam Lieberman and like raspberry leachies in the U.S. work with them. But I wasn't expecting to have this little color. I don't know if she'll outgrow it. Like Crusties outgrow their bright red, right? Or depending on what kind of genes they have these days. But yeah, so that's my
she's
little
very
orange. I want to watch, right? Yeah. It's hard to pick up on camera, but well,
especially like this background. The moss, she really blends into it because of the orangey reds coming out. Yeah, this one's showing off against it completely.
Yeah. And this one is clutch mates with this one.
Ah, okay.
And then these 2 are clutch mates.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
Yes, I absolutely love my baby leachies. I was between raising these two and actually having eggs on the ground and then having hatchlings, it was about 5 years.
Geez, so this has been a long-term project for you.
Well, very long-term project. But I actually, I wouldn't do it any other way with this species, because having raised both of them from hatchlings to introducing and everything, I wouldn't say I'm well experienced, but having to experience like the personality changes when they go through from this size to juvenile to adult size.
You
It
can really
helps
tell the
troubleshoot.
customers and everything.
Exactly. And like, because when they're babies, they're kind of scared of everything, but also they're out and about more. But I'd say when they get to about 50 grams, a year oldish, they turn into moody teenagers.
Okay, a lot of reptiles have like a teenager phase that...
Yeah, that's when she and he both started lunging at me when they're about 100 grams.
Okay.
50 to 100 grams. And that's when the vocalness got louder, their colors changed. She started finally firing up that dark green, but she didn't have as much pattern. It was just like forest green and dusty rose. That's how she fired up when she was that size.
Interesting.
He constantly misfired to where he looked like he was black and white. I'll show you pictures when we're not recording. But yeah, it's crazy. And then finally, after 100 grams, about 2 years or so, they settle into their final temperaments and colors and even out. Like, she hasn't bitten me since she was a juvie. And she hasn't tried.
Yeah, she knows she's the top of the chain now and not so worried about...
Yeah, and like I said before, I also like really try to read them and respect where they're at. And then I handle accordingly. If that means just leaving them alone for the night, I do.
Okay.
Because, I don't know, for me it's big just to like make sure your animals are comfy, I suppose. Unless something, of course, is like, has to be handled, you know.
Mm-hmm. So would you consider these an okay first time pet, or maybe like a second or third reptile? Or...
Yeah, I would, you can definitely go into it and do okay if they're your first reptile, but you have to be committed to learning how to do it right. They are a species where you need to have graduated enclosure sizes, full stop. You can't put a baby this size in a 12 by 12 by 18, and you can't put a 50-gram baby in an 18 by 18 by 24. It won't work. So for these guys,
the adults,
my adults, how that process worked was they stayed in a shoebox type enclosure or bin until they were about 50-ish grams.
Okay.
And then once they hit 50 grams and were doing well in there, I moved them into a 12 by 12 by 18 Exoterra. And it's important with their enclosures to make sure that they have lots of cork. These geckos absolutely love cork.
Okay.
They'll usually pick one cork round as their home, as their favorite place to sleep. That one I try to keep with them all of the time because it's like their comfort place. But they love to hang out behind cork logs or in them. I believe they live in hollows in trees in the wild. That's why they're so comfortable in there.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so once they hit about 100 grams or so and they're doing well in their 12 by 12 by 18s, you can move into an 18 by 18 by 24. That's what I did for both Maximus and Aleko. The adjustment period can be hit or miss. Sometimes they're not ready. Sometimes you wait a little too long and they're like, woo, space. But once they're eating and well established, you'll know they're happy in their enclosure because they'll hang upside down and sleep on the front glass.
Okay.
Yeah, even the babies do this. It's so funny. It's like the leachie pose where they're upside down, bellies against the glass, legs are all spread out with their giant feet and their little curly tails. And they're sleeping. That's happy leachie sleeping position.
All right, that's good to know.
Yeah, and then once they're fully grown, I'd say 2-3 years old, that's when I moved them into their big 36 by 18 by 24.
Can I convince you to come visit me off the camera?
Oh, yes.
You're so small. You're so small. And you're gonna get so big.
I can't wait to see what she looks like in 3 years. Like, I think she might be a big girl.
Yeah.
Because that's the only one I have that's gotten so big so fast.
They're adorable, chubby little babies right now. Like they're
yes.
they're just little round
They have all of the wrinkles.
bellied and. I don't know if the camera can even catch how cute that face is. Look at you. Look at you. So, how about we do a setup of a baby bin?
Yes.
Alright, we'll pack these guys. Yeah, I'm gonna put you away. I'm sorry. And we'll show one of the baby bins off.
Okay.
Alright, where's my favorite? Right here. Alright, so Hannah,
Yes.
I bought my favorite leachie
Yes.
gecko and I'm taking it home.
Okay.
Show me how Hannah would set up a home for this guy.
Okay, for a leachie this size, I keep it really simple because you want to make sure they're pooping and eating, and at the same time you have to make sure they feel secure, because if they don't feel secure, if they feel like they're out in the wild, wide open, they're not going to eat, they'll die. It's a bad time, don't do it. Okay, so this is one of my favorite Amazon finds ever. These are actually shoe boxes.
Okay.
They're stackable and they're supposed to be on their sides. So they're for like sneakerheads, I guess.
Okay, so it would sit like that and you could open it.
Yeah. However, they work fantastically for arboreal gecko hatchlings.
Nice.
So, the back is fully ventilated. I just cover it with screen because I feed crickets to other species of geckos that I keep, and little crickets will go right through there.
Yep.
So, best part about these, escape proof.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. I cut a vent in the top. Lots of leachie breeders for their hatchling bins, they'll do a vent probably about this size or smaller.
Okay.
I like to have more airflow. It's just, for however my room works, it's good. But you do want to hold a little bit of humidity in there for your gecko.
Okay.
But the one thing is, a wet leachie will die faster than anything else.
Okay.
So they need to be able to dry off because they will get like bacterial skin infections. Kind of
yeah.
like if you keep a crusty too wet, it's not a good time for them.
Okay.
So what I like to do, because there is a lot of ventilation in this cage for what people would traditionally keep a leachie hatchling in, is have a little flower pot or cave. This should be about the size of the gecko. As they get bigger and grow in here, I'll move them into a bigger sort of hide.
Okay.
But I like to keep it about their size, and sphagnum moss, just damp.
I love sphagnum.
Me too. It's fantastic. I think every enclosure I have has sphagnum in it.
I think, yeah.
It's so good for moist hides. So yeah, I just fill that with sphagnum.
Okay.
And when I'm misting, I make sure I keep that wet while I am doing maintenance and stuff. So then, maybe plants last. I always have cork in with every leachie I have. They love it, and yeah, it just helps them feel secure. This piece is a little big. Did I bring a smaller one? Yes, I did. So I'll just set it up like that so that the hide is covered.
Okay.
And then the leachie can hang out on here if they want, or they can go and hide and if they need to feel safe. And then I always do foliage just to take up some space in the cage, just to keep things, again, feeling more secure. Oftentimes, if you can see here how the leaves push up on the
The
plastic,
sides, yeah.
they'll sleep in the middle of that.
Okay.
Yeah, they sort of like to sleep hidden, and if you get a front view, you can see it's pretty cluttered, but at the same time, it's only a few pieces, so it's easy to clean and
keep
find
track of,
them.
and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then I love these little silicone feeding dishes. I got them from Chantal and Casey, or Winnipeg Reptiles.
Okay.
They're just fantastic, and then when the Pangea dries, you just like pop them out and scrape it off and you're done.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It looks like a little bottle cap, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just silicone, and then when they're all dirty, I just throw them in the dishwasher.
Genius. I love it.
I try to make things as lazy proof as I can.
Yeah.
It makes taking care a lot easier. So then I just have that, and if I need to, I can just go across the top of these all lined up and give them a quick mist, so I make sure they all have water in case their bowl's dry.
Okay.
And then if I have some more time, I'll take everything out and take a look and everything. But yeah, super easy for maintenance, and it suits their needs for climbing. They're always higher up as they can go usually.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I love this kind of setup.
That's such a cool setup. Yeah. And so you just found these on Amazon. I assume you had other ones before, and you wrote.
Yeah, so I've done like the traditional like Home Depot 99-cent shoebox bin.
Okay.
With the lid that comes off the whole top, and then you melt the holes in the sides. I hated those because then you're trying to like corral a hatchling while getting a lid on and stuff. And to work with a cage, because of how you have to store them, they're all stacked on top of each other usually.
Okay.
That's how I used to do it. It was like Cressy, just stack them, and that's it. These are all like side by side, and you can stack them. I'm looking at like changing the vent positions because I'm quickly getting overrun with leachies.
What a terrible problem to have.
I know. I would slap me if I was me 2 years ago. But yes, so these are great because the door is so easy for working with them and taking them in and out. It's just pop them back in there, and it's nice and secure. Like they can't nose out at their size.
No. Yeah.
It snaps in there nicely, and crickets can't get out. Some alterations I did make, as I mentioned before, the screen on the back, the hole on the top, and then I glued a piece of the plastic that I cut out from this hole in between here so that it's sealed up and the geckos can't get out. And then I just hot glued the joints here where it slides together because it comes flat packed.
Okay.
And yeah, and they're perfect. And honestly, if I have a whole bunch, I'll take all the babies out and put them in a separate container and then just hose these all out and let them dry. They're great.
Right. It's easy to sterilize and everything if needed, and
Yeah.
that's a fantastic idea. How long could they stay in this size before they'd move up?
So I'd say realistically until about 40 or 50 grams. It does sound really large, like you think a 40, 50 gram crested gecko could go live in an 18 by 18 by 24, no problem, right? But for leachies, they need graduated enclosure sizing, and 50 grams for a lot of locales, again, this is locale specific, you should also factor age in as well, is a juvenile. Like Aliko and Maximus, when they were 50 grams, they were barely a year old, if that.
Okay.
So this is about the size of enclosure I kept both of them in until that age. It maybe was a little bit wider, but this is the height and depth and everything. So then after that, they would move into a 10-gallon or 12 by 12 by 18 Exoterra or equivalent.
Okay.
Until about 100 grams or so, or over a year to 2 years old.
Okay.
That's what I did for them. And then after that, I moved them each into their own 18 by 18 by 24 Exoterra, so the 40 gallons.
Okay.
And they could have lived their adult lives in there, although I would maybe go a little bigger, just because when I move them into their big enclosure that they're in together, they use all the space all the time, back and forth. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's sort of
not
cage sizing.
Not hard to set up. I mean, that's nice. And would you keep them on the paper towel until they're 50 grams, or would you move them to like a substrate, or?
As long as they're in a bin, I would keep them on paper towel just because it's easier in a bin.
Okay.
But as soon as they're out of the bin into an actual like enclosure, substrate all the way.
Okay.
I keep everyone on substrate. What was actually a funny story is I have a dwarf white isopod problem. There's lots of people who tried that version of Bioactive too.
Okay.
Where
you might have got them from me at one point, so I could see that.
No, I got them them from Shy and Ivan. I know.
Okay, I got them from them too.
Yeah, I see.
And I gave them away to a whole bunch of people.
So I have a master culture that's probably like 50 pounds in like this giant plastic bin, like that size.
Okay.
And I last year was having issue because I noticed they were eating my Agricola and Velarde eggs, like my little
Yes. I love the
chameleon
Velardes.
geckos. Yeah, they were eating the eggs, like perfectly good eggs. Somehow they got into my incubation tray of all places. And I was checking because perfectly good Agricola egg, nicely developing. Week later, holes, empty, gone. And isopods and that last year was not a good year for geckos for me. So yeah, from then on I decided, you know what, no, none of these. I literally let the substrates in my enclosures dry, and then I changed the substrate out, washed it out, all new ABG mix. I also got rid of my drainage layers because screw drainage layers. Yeah, so then I started turning over my leachie substrate probably a few months ago, looking for leachie eggs. What do I see? Dwarf white isopods.
Of course.
A nice healthy population, not a piece of leachie poop in sight or mold. They've just found equilibrium.
Alright, well, as long as they leave the eggs alone, because I want to see more of these babies.
They've left them alone so far. Also, these eggshells are super tough.
Okay.
They're like leather. What was it? I helped. Well, I didn't really help as much as I found them half hatching, and I was like, oh, baby, here, yoink. Well, carefully with a pair of tweezers, yoink the shell back so he could come out. But yeah, it was this guy I helped hatch. I have a picture of him half out of his egg.
So your pumpkin orange?
Yes, my I have a feeling I might name it Garfield. I have a feeling. But yeah, I'll show you a picture after. But yeah, this one is just my little oddity. I love him so much.
Aw, I love all of these guys. They're so gorgeous, and I'm so glad you brought them to visit me. And
thank you for inviting.
This was great. So yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for telling us. For everybody watching, if you want a leachie gecko, Jetta's Geckos.
Yeah.
Hannah's got some coming up. Got eggs still in the incubator. And
4 left incubating. I'm hoping she's done. I'm cooling them off now. They're at 65 Fahrenheit, so there might be clutch number 6, but I really hope not.
Well, she seems to be in great shape, so she's obviously
Yes.
not hurting for all of these babies that she has managed to make.
And they're perfect.
They are. They're so good.
I cried when the first one hatched, so like, I love these things.
That's adorable. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. And leave a like, comment, let me know what you thought about this and whether we should do more videos with different people coming in showing off different animals. So thanks everyone. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.